What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley, along with Scotty and Subpar Dave in the G. Burbick Farm Studios, and of course Max solo down, holding up the grassroots efforts here that we're trying to put together. Boys, can I just ask how we are today? I think we all know how I am.
You are fantastic.
If
I were any better, I'd be you.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that, but Scotty, how you feeling?
I'm great, especially since I got a great laugh. I didn't think you were gonna actually use the subpar Dave in the power hour today as part of the show, but I love it, man. He's subpar Dave from this point on.
Pretty brutal, super subpar.
We'll let everybody in on the inside joke here in a minute. We got some stuff to cover, but before we do that, Mac, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
There was
for
a
the most part.
there.
Yeah, I mean, we got some bad news earlier. Well, Good things will go
news.
on, but wishy-washy. And then, yeah, man, went from one game heading to the other. So
Sorry. All right, so let's get people up to date. Breaking news out of McDonald and Louisville. There will be no Louisville versus McDonald game. Louisville, I don't know that the rumor is, and we hate passing along rumors, they don't have enough girls today to compete. So in that case, the game is done, and McDonald will advance. So that being said, Mac, you had that game. So what we could do is we moved you from the Louisville McDonald game, and now we have added Lordstown at Brookfield, which I think Brookfield, the Lady Warriors, are going to be excited for that one. Great offense. I think they scored 14 runs their last time through. So a great opportunity to get some eyes on Brookfield, another MVAC product, naturally. But you know, it's a fifth game. It's a fifth playoff game in which we talked about the bad news. And the bad news is we got a heads up earlier today that the OHSA is going to now charge for districts and sectionals, and we didn't think that was the case. We were under not the assumption, we were under a legit like PDF of there was no charge up and through regionals, and now there is. So with that being said, we put out the emergency press conference earlier and essentially said that we're going back to the $9.99 per day, and you can get whatever games that we have on the network absolutely at that cost, that $9.99. So that being said, we've got 5 playoff games. You're more than welcome to watch it. There is going to be a paywall on them, and you can watch every one of those games for basically $2 a game. You know, so one of those things, if you're watching one because of your kid or somebody you're related to, you can get in on that at $9.99. You can watch, all the other games as well. And the other caveat to this is we are not going to charge for regular season games. We're trying to do the best and be the best stewards of your time, your resources, your money, and your honestly, you being a fan of YSN. Like, we're not just going to try to keep our hand out and be greedy like, oh, I don't know, some people we know, OHSAA. We want to be your place that you can come to us and we have value for that. So I think at $9.99 it's more than fair, especially given the circumstance that it's $10 a ticket to get into these games now, courtesy of your friends down in Columbus. So we're trying to do right by the fans. Obviously we're a business. They're charging us $100 per game. So tonight we're going to be out $500 for these games. So we're looking to make sure that we can at least stay afloat. We don't want to go away anytime soon. We love being here. We love being able to entertain and inform you. So that's kind of where we're at. So that being said, it is a national day today, gentlemen, and it's not National Foam Rolling Day. I didn't even put it in here. Let's go with. We were going to do National Limerick Day, but nobody's prepared with their own limerick. So let's go with National Odometer Day. What is the odometer on your car? What is the highest it's ever been on any car you've ever driven? Dave, you probably got us all beat.
A Toyota Celica at 112 miles an hour. That we're talking about?
That's a speedometer.
What's an odometer?
How many miles?
I'm at 130,000 right now.
On the van or your personal car?
On my First of all, I didn't know what an odometer was, and I apologize for that. I'm not a car guy.
At least we know he's got 112.
200,000 miles on it when I got rid of it.
Okay. Mac, what about you? Have you ever put anything over 200?
Yeah. I have a Dodge Dakota 1997, 375,000 miles.
Whoa.
And it still runs like a champ.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Oh, my
Never
God.
been in a car accident, never had an oil leak. It's back, it's still in that era where they made cars to last. Like today, not so much.
That's in the Hall of Fame. It has to be.
Yeah.
No engine.
It's a stick shift. So like it was the very first stick shift I ever drove. So I got it off of a guy in Kokomo, Indiana, and my dad works out there for Chrysler, and he says, "Yeah, I got you. I bought you a car. Boom, here you go. And I'll figure out how to drive it." And we drove from there to Ohio. That was the first time I ever drove stick shift.
Unbelievable. 375.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still a champ. No rust. No nothing. It's good.
Unbelievable. I mean, that thing. And it's where is this thing? Where is this monster?
It's at Newton Falls house.
My goodness. Here we go. The 230,000 miles on the YSN ad truck right now. And it's literally in motion right now on the way to another advertising meeting. So Coach is on the road today. We appreciate all he does. Naturally, I mean, all of you guys that were involved yesterday did a fantastic job with the Power Hour. I was happy to join for 15, 20 minutes or so there down in Bessemer. But the wind is just so bad there. It's so bad. It's a wind tunnel, and I feel so bad for kind of breaking up your mojo. So appreciate you guys, picking up what I left over the other day. So you guys did a fantastic job, and we get a lot of comments when you guys do it on your own. So I might just take more days off of this Power Hour. So you guys can do it. You can pick
also, happy birthday to Miguel Page.
Hey, Michael Page, happy birthday, dude. Happy birthday. Who's on that? Is that Frosty the Snowman? Happy birthday.
Yep.
So happy birthday from all of us here at YSN Page. We love you. We love the fact that you don't want to come on our shows, but you'll comment from the bleachers. That's what it's all about. That's what it is all. That's actually a good name. The
Anthony's
bleachers.
doing donuts.
Yeah, I know. He's spinning out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never met Michael, but he laughs at my comments, so I guess he's a good guy in my book, then. But also, DJ, just real quickly,
Sure.
For people that sometimes enjoy some useless information, as you could see, I don't think it's a shocker to anyone that I've never actually driven a car on my own, although I haven't ruled it off totally one day with some of the adaptive equipment I heard about. But for those that are curious, my power currently has 588 miles on it.
Wow, that a boy, Scotty.
I was wondering. That's awesome.
So, what's a place that is 590 miles away that we could basically bring this to? Would that be? I don't even want to take a guess.
I'd give him to St. Louis.
As I say, St. Louis, Oklahoma.
So you drove to St. Louis, basically, Scotty, on your chair.
Yeah, basically.
That's pretty sweet.
I've had it since 2018. I'm due for another one in 2023. So.
Atta boy, get those oil changes. They all mount up. So, let's get to some sports today. Obviously, today being, tough with the. We're going to steer clear of the OHSAA talk. We've beat them up enough over the last year or so, and at this point, it is what it is, right? People will pay or they won't. That's just how it is. And we'll figure it out from there. But the one thing I do want to talk about, it is literally a national holiday around here with the schedule releases for the 2021-2022 NFL football season. So when you look at what we've seen early and right off the jump, It looks like the Browns will open up on opening day, essentially. That's Sunday, and play the Chiefs at 4:25. And the Steelers will be on the road in Buffalo. Early thoughts. I mean, I'm surrounded by Browns fans, so let's talk about the Chiefs versus Browns. Do you like playing the Chiefs week 1? They're all healthy. You get Pat Mahomes once again, and he remembers what happened the last time. Talk to me about how you're feeling.
Well, I guess I'll go, DJ. I'll lead off. I gotta say, because I've been thinking about the NFL schedule release for a while, and it was maybe a couple weeks, maybe about a month ago, I was thinking, the Browns haven't won an opener in so long that I'd really like to start off with like a team that's been a cellar dweller, like a cupcake opponent, just beat the crap out of them and get that first victory out of the way. But the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about last year's playoff run, and because I think the Browns eventually, even though I don't think they've totally arrived yet, it was one good year, but you have to put together years of success before you can be considered an elite or one of the best franchises. So the way I see it, the more I thought about it, the more I love it, man. Why not start off with the best right off the bat, the 2-time defending AFC champions? They just won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Obviously, they fell short last year, but Pat Mahomes already has MVP as well. So, yeah, I love it, man. It's going to be a tall task because anytime Andy Reid, you give him 2 weeks to prepare, and he's almost pretty much unbeatable, let alone months to prepare. So it is going to be a really tall task for Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield and company. But I'm excited about the measuring stick, man, to see if the Browns can really be a Super Bowl contender this year, or if last year was a little bit of fool's gold. We'll find out.
All right. Subpar Dave, your thoughts?
I have to agree with him. I love playing the Chiefs the opening day, but knowing the Browns, here's what's going to happen. They're going to play the Chiefs very well, maybe even beat them. And then the hype will start, and then the Browns will collapse. So instead of being hyped before the season, the collapse will start after the week 1. But I think they'll play very well against the Chiefs. I don't think Stefanski is going to get blown out 2 years in a row. So,
okay. I mean, it wasn't a blowout though, was it?
Well, he's not talking. He's talking about week 1.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, got it. All right, I understand. Okay, my apologies.
More prepared this year.
Check out Will Cunningham's comment. I'd like to give a shout out to the Salem baseball team winning the EBC. Great group of kids and a great team. First one in 30 years. Congratulations to Coach DeBar. He's done an amazing job this year. And yes, absolutely. It's a good year to be a Quaker. So congratulations to Salem on their first ever EBC championship, because it's only in the second year of the EBC being around. So congratulations to them. And we'll see tonight is the real matchup. I mean, obviously the EBC has been decided, but the one I'm really excited, and we'll talk about this later as well, is, listen, you have Cunningham versus Rhodes in a matchup where both of these guys are studs. Cunningham is going to be a good one, and somebody's going to get just really lucky in landing him. And then, of course, you got Lane Rhodes is going to YSU, going to be a Penguin with Coach Bertolini. That's exciting. So if you're watching anything on the network tonight, make sure you have that as a tab open. West Branch versus Salem. It's going to be a good one. Mac, your Browns, how do you like opening up against the Chiefs? Hang on. And go.
We'll see. I mean, quarterback play is still not going to be all that great from the Browns, but I mean, we're going to run the ball. I think I like it because it's going to be a physical matchup. It's going to be one of those games where, just similar to the playoff game where we tried to run the ball down their throat. So I think as long as we stick to that, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be in it. I don't picture any more blowouts in the Browns' future. I think they shored up some holes on defense. We should be semi-healthy. Who knows what happens in the preseason or from now up until then. But I like the idea of that. I mean, our quarterback play is just terrible. So Aaron Rodgers is still out there. I think we should still make a pass for him.
Wow. Will Cunningham saying that his son going to Bryan College in Tennessee. So good for him. Don't know much about the college to even pass along any notes, but good for him. Anytime you can go down south to play baseball, Billy, that's a good thing, right?
Yep.
The other thing, Scotty has some beef that we'll probably let's get out right now because he was talking about you earlier about the quarterback issue that he's got. Every time you call out Baker. So they're asking why the hate, Billy. Why they hate so much on Baker Mayfield?
Listen, every time you think Baker has turned a corner and you're like, all right, he's kind of figured it out. He throws an interception to a person in black jersey wearing with the yellow stripes, and then they take it to the house. So until I stop seeing that, this is what he's going to get. He is yet to go out and win a football game. Quarterbacks are paid a lot of money to go out there and win football games. And I think almost every single victory this year you could say is because of Chubb. It was because of turnovers. I mean, you take that Pittsburgh game away with all the turnovers that they had, they should have won by 40.
I'm not going to argue it.
You're not going to argue. I'll take the good and the bad with Baker. I love the kid.
He didn't throw an interception though, and he didn't do anything that hurt.
Oh, right. He went through a good stretch where he didn't turn the ball over, but Kirk Cousins does the same thing over there, and we don't praise him either.
I can't disagree with him on that point. That is a great point. That is a great comparison.
I mean,
He'll start winning games. Don't worry.
I still think I think Baker has. I think we've already seen Kirk Cousins his ceiling. I don't think we've seen Baker's ceiling yet. I think he's going to be even better this year than he was last year, and I do believe he could play like a top 5 quarterback.
But you got to imagine, you got to think that like no other there's not many quarterbacks in the league that have as much talent surrounding Baker Mayfield as he does, and still not putting up fantastic numbers throughout the year. I mean, not turning the ball over. I mean, great. That's kind of your job. So we can't sit here and praise quarterbacks not throwing the ball over when that's kind of your responsibility is to not turn the ball over.
So we talked about this earlier today. Scotty would not take Aaron Rodgers for Baker Mayfield, but he would take Tom Brady for Baker Mayfield, which he says is because of the clutch factor that Tom Brady has. He also, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scotty, but this is a Scotty Mincher guarantee that if the Browns had Tom Brady right now, they would win, for 2 years, would win 2 Super Bowls back-to-back.
Back-to-back, without question. I mean, obviously, provided they didn't suffer catastrophic injuries, but on paper, you give the Tom Brady the keys to this Ferrari, this offense, and we roll to 2 straight Super Bowl championships. And I don't think you could say that with Aaron Rodgers. And I think the only other guy you could say that with in the entire NFL is Pat Mahomes. I don't think you could say it with Josh Allen, anybody else. But Brady, he already beat Mahomes last year with the Bucs. And I think this Browns offense this season will be better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So,
I have a hard time thinking that, Scotty, because you're talking about a guy who just won the MVP with 1 wide receiver, okay? An offensive line that is in the bottom 10th of the league with no running game, right? And he solely took his team to the NFC Championship game. Also a guy who's the only first-round pick ever in his career that was drafted from an offensive weapon standpoint is the guy that's supposed to replace him. So you're talking about a guy who you insert into the Browns, as is, bearing we don't lose one of those receivers or running backs before a trade. I think it's absurd, for at least for me, to say that the defending MVP of the entire league can't win a Super Bowl in Cleveland.
I'm not saying I think he could, and I think right now he'd have a better chance of winning. As much as I love Baker, he'd have a better chance of winning us a Super Bowl than we would have with Baker. So I do think he could. I just think there's people out there that are basically they paint the scenario that if the Browns get Rodgers, that elevates them to the overwhelming favorite, the consensus favorite over the Chiefs. I think if we got Rodgers, we'd have a really good shot, but Kansas City still might be better. I think if we got Brady, it would be not just a shot, it would be a lock to get to the Super Bowl and win.
The biggest problem I have with Baker, okay, is it just comes down to there's a lot of games in the NFL season where about 6 to 8 minutes left during the game and you're down 2 scores. So it's 10, 14, whatever the case is. And I don't think Baker Mayfield can go and put you in a position to win that football game. And there may be only 5 or 6 quarterbacks who could do that, but Baker Mayfield is not one. So I don't think that's the guy, and maybe the Browns do, and right now they do because they want a playoff game. Again, it's very hard to say, hey, Baker's not the guy when he won a first playoff game since 1994. I get all that, okay? But
I think, too, though, Billy Mack, I mean, you may think this is overrated, but you really look at Baker's career. Year one, he had an absolute clown coaching him for much of that, at least half of that, over half of that season in Hugh Jackson. Then year two, even before year two, they had a guy that was an interim coach that got fired for calling a ridiculous blitz that cost the Jets a game in Greg Williams. Then year two, he has Freddie Kitchens, who was never even a head coach on the high school level. He was barely a running back coach, and they promoted him to the head coach of the Browns. So I think this is his first time in the same system with the same coach back-to-back years. And I think he's really going to reap the benefits of that. I think this will be his breakout season.
Well, I won't disagree with anything you said there. Those things are valid points when it comes to just consistency, in which the Browns have really never had. To really clarify what Aaron Mosier is trying to say is the question I have for Aaron Mosier, okay, is real simple. How many Super Bowl wins does the Browns have compared to Aaron Rodgers? So you could throw up a stat 1-4 in an NFC Championship game, but the guy's got a Super Bowl ring. So to me, that's a little bit more important. And over here too, what was the other one? It was Michael Page said something. Let's see. Can't wait to see a 5-year extension. Let's hope he doesn't sign a monster 5-year extension, because if he does that, that means all his talented pieces go bye-bye, and then it really is on Baker. So everything that I've been saying will come to fruition.
It's true. I mean, we talked about it today, Scotty. I mean, we were talking about the window. Everybody talks about this window for the Browns. They talk about it like this is a young team. You're only going to get a window like this once every lifetime, because the Browns have all the pieces, right, to make this run. But who stands in their way right now? For the Steelers, it was the Patriots. And for the Browns, it's Kansas City. So all the Browns fans, listen, I dealt with it again this morning. And this is why he's subpar Dave today, is he's not looking for championships. He's looking to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's fine. Steelers don't care, because if they finish second in the AFC or they finish
cared last year.
What's that?
You cared last year.
No, because if we would have lost to the Chiefs, I thought we were best equipped for the Chiefs, but we would have lost to the Chiefs in AFC champ if we didn't lose to the Bills. So you look at that and you go, okay, here's the deal. I don't care if we finish second in the AFC or if we finish dead last in the AFC. That's not a Super Bowl. You are judged by your championships. You're not judged by, like, nobody looks at this. Scotty, I know your whole culture reference of being able to change the culture in Cleveland, and that's great. But you also had a good year, 2 years ago? And it completely backfired on you the next year. So you got to be able to be consistent.
A Super Bowl win.
We did have a good year that year, but we didn't have a guy that many people think is one of the newest, brightest young minds in football, and we didn't have a guy that is coming off of Coach of the Year award.
Okay, again, I explained this before, and I'll enlighten everybody out there to the conversation. That was a very heated conversation, mind you, here in YSN HQ. But let me tell you this. Coach of the Year is usually for a coach that overperforms and gets his team either into the Super Bowl or very close. Say, I don't know, the AFC Championship, right? Not because your team's been so bad for so long that they want to reward you because you had a one-off season. Like, that's what the Browns have right now. To crown Kevin Stefanski right now as this coach that is the next Bill Belichick is ludicrous.
No, yeah.
Absolutely ludicrous.
I said that.
No, but that's why I feel like we're crowning him as because he got some paper championship, as AFC Coach of the Year. What does that mean? What does that do?
I mean, it wasn't rocket science what he did with the Cleveland Browns offense either. Basically it was, hey, let's turn and hand the ball off to our two amazing top 15 running backs and then play from ahead. When the Browns had to play from behind, Baker could not get it done. So the offense was real simple. Let's get ahead. Let's keep the game close between the score so that way we have a chance and we don't have to change our offense. Because when we have to go four wide and huck and chuck it around the football field, Baker tends to not make good decisions. That's why his production was a lot better and his interception rate was down because now we got a chance to work off of play action because of the threat of runs. And if you're up 14 points with 6 minutes to go, there's not a whole lot of play action going on, so that linebackers aren't flowing up. They're staying back.
Again, I'll point to the Michael Page brought it up in the comments. You could say we have this great running game, which we do. It's probably the best running back combo in the league. But even with that being said, last year against Tennessee, when everybody was saying this is a test for Baker, this is a week he has to show up. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt didn't run wild. Baker slaughtered them through the air with the passing game. And I'll go to the Giants game later in the season. Everyone was talking about how much the Giants defense has improved, and this is going to be, not easy for the Browns. The Giants have a good defense. Baker was throwing the Peoples, Jones, Landry, and Higgins, lighting them up. Again, Kareem Hunt and Chubb were basically no-shows in that game. So I think this whole narrative that Baker needs a running game is a little bit.
It's accurate, Scotty, because listen, I'll give you that game, but give me another one. You're gonna talk about the Giants. Come on, the Giants, they're not good. They weren't good all year. They were in the worst division in football and had like 4 wins. Okay, so I'm not going to give you the Giants, but I will give you Tennessee. I also remember Kelly Holcomb doing pretty well at certain points, and nobody's sitting here crowning him. Their quarterbacks are going to have a game or two, that's sure, on the roster, but this year we're playing 17 games. At a 17-game span, I don't think Baker can go out here and do this. If you ask Aaron Rodgers to go out here and win you every single game, he's going to be 11, 10, 12 wins, some of these other elite quarterbacks. the idea that there, and it's not you, but it's other Browns fans are putting Baker Mayfield into this category that he has no business belonging. He's Kirk Cousins. He's just above average. He's the bar. Like, this is what we need out of a quarterback. Insert Kirk Cousins. And then some games he plays above it, some games he plays worse. There's a lot more worse quarterbacks in the league, sure, but he is not anywhere near the top 10 in the league right now.
I think he played like a top 10 last year, and I think he's going to do that again this season. And it wouldn't shock me if he played like a top 5. So, again, we disagree. You think you've seen enough of Baker where you think he's maxed out on his potential. He's tapped out, and you know what you're getting. Basically, maybe a rich man's Case Keenum. That's what you think of Baker. But I see a guy that showed great improvement in the second half of last season. Many of those games, his quarterback rating was even better than Patty Mahomes.
Future's bright.
So
yeah.
Here's
my problem though, Scotty. Is
I'm not saying is he ever going to be MVP of the league? Probably not. But is he average, middle of the pack at best? I think he's better than that, Billy Mack. I think you're selling him short. I think the Browns could do a lot worse at quarterback than Baker Mayfield.
I'll say one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would rather lose with Baker than win with Rodgers, Brady, or Roethlisberger. I don't want to run a quarterback. We've been bringing in these old quarterbacks for the last 20 years. Dilfer won a Super Bowl too. Didn't we bring him in? He didn't do shit. Sorry, but
no, you're right.
Win and lose with Baker Mayfield. He's my man.
So that takes us to another conversation, Dave, because you would rather lose with Baker Mayfield than win with Rodgers, Brady, or Roethlisberger.
Don't want it.
That's the whole conversation right there. You would rather watch your team lose and be loyal, or this is our guy, than watch someone in your jersey win you a Super Bowl title. Like, what does that get you at all?
I got another question for you, Billy Mack. You've obviously, we clearly know how you feel about Baker now. So I wanted to know from you, for over the next 10 years, if somebody put a gun to your head as a combination, are you taking Baker and Stefanski, Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, or Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh?
Well, I don't think
mission.
I don't think Burrow's coach is going to be there much longer. I think this is it for Burrow's coach. So I think that he's going to get a new coach in there. I think Lamar stinks. So sure, by default, Baker's the guy, man.
Lamar stinks.
That puts his Baker comments in perspective a little bit better.
That's what I mean, though. Like, you just basically.
But why do we have to settle for average? Like, Browns fans, this is why Browns fans piss me off, is because we haven't won and, this is so great. The objective is to win a Super Bowl.
You just said he's the best quarterback in our division, basically.
Whoa. Hey, we forgot somebody.
He's not the best quarterback in our division. Joe Burrow is better than Baker Mayfield right now.
There it is.
No, I disagree with that. 1 year of Joe Burrow playing, I think he's gonna be better if he stays healthy. But right now, he's not better than Baker. I'm taking Baker.
Me too.
What did we forget about the Steelers in that?
How many games did he win with the Bengals?
I'm taking Tomlin and Rudolph.
How good did Joe Burrow look against the Steelers in Pittsburgh?
All I'm saying is, according to Pro Football Focus, Joe Burrow was the best or second best quarterback in the NFL last year.
Yeah, again.
Where did that put the Bengals? Last place.
Dude has a
Well, yeah, there's other factors. They can't stop a soul.
yeah.
Like, I mean,
Like here's the thing, Scotty, is if the Browns had Joe Burrow right now, you are set for the rest of your career. And you pay him whatever.
Not if the Bengals don't fix that offensive line and protect him, because he's just gonna go down with an injury and get hurt again.
They will.
That's why Baker's. That's a big reason why Baker's second year was a freaking dumpster fire shit show, because the offensive line was freaking hot garbage. I could have played better 2 years ago at offensive line than for offensive line than freaking Chris Hubbard. Get the hell out of here.
Well, wait a minute. He came from the Steelers and he did an okay job. So let's just put it sometimes that like the Browns just stunk. Okay, let's not be like, oh, it's the O-line, it's this guy. Like they were bad. They were bad, and it's the same thing. Like we talked about it today. This is the Brown show apparently today. By the way, you have OBJ, who everybody was hooting and hollering about and foaming at the mouth for. He stinks for as many games as he's in. He's terrible. He's awful. Cleveland people wanted to trade him, and then he gets hurt, and then the Browns go off on a tangent of a just streak, and they become one of the best teams in football. And then you're going to tell me that over the offseason, OBJ changed his ways. He's not going to be selfish anymore. He's going to come back and say, I don't care, Baker, if I don't get the ball. This money thing doesn't matter to me.
That's the thing, though. That whole narrative, DJ, my opinion, again, excuse my French, but I think that whole narrative is complete bullshit. Odell Beckham Jr. has never came out and said, I want the ball, give me the ball. He's never been this meek guy, at least during his time with the Browns.
You know what? As much as I love Ben Roethlisberger, Ben's never come out and said, I want to throw the ball every play either. But you look at the body of work and you say, you know what? I think Ben wants to throw the football. And you look at the body of work and Odell Beckham gets minimum 5 catches a game because he's got some kind of pyramid contract where he gets more money for more catches. Like Scotty, okay, you can call it a bullshit narrative. Wake up. Read an offense.
Dude, you gotta wake up, dude. Because listen, here you want to know why the Browns were better when OBJ was out.
Yep.
Because we didn't play a tough schedule last year, and then when we finally got in the playoffs and we played the more upper echelon teams, we played the cream of the crop in the AFC in Kansas City. As good as Jarvis Landry is, he's no deep threat. Can't take the top off the defense. As solid a slot guy as Rashard Higgins is, no deep threat. Can't take the top off the defense. OBJ, he commands attention, and teams have to game plan for him.
Then why do teams beat OBJ when he's on the field?
What?
Why do teams beat the Browns and OBJ when he's on the field?
See, this goes back to Baker's decision-making, though, with OBJ on there. It doesn't have anything to do with OBJ. The player OBJ is great. I have no issue with OBJ. What Scotty said, I agree with a lot of things Scotty said. The issue is when OBJ is on the field, Baker feels like, I want to be on ESPN highlight. And he just chucks it to him. That's why he force feeds him the ball. Now it's Baker's responsibility
I'll clean that up
to keep the flow into the offense.
But I think, and I told DJ this morning, I think over the second half of last season, you could say it was because, and we'll find out mid-season, if we're sitting here the middle of this coming season and he's forcing it to OBJ and they're turning the ball over, the offense is out of sync, and then you trade them. But the idea to trade a great weapon right now and a guy that could catch a 50-yard bomb at any moment, why would you get rid of one of your great weapons? I think even though you didn't see Odell and Baker click early on last season, I think Baker got more comfortable in the offense. In this second year, I don't think he's going to be forcing it to Odell. I think he's going to, get it to him and spread it around.
Well, the problem with that, Scotty, is it's a lot of foresight, and the actions that the body of work, like DJ said, is all we've ever seen with when Odell and Baker's on the field together is that he forces the ball to him. So until that changes, until I can see it with my eyes, until everybody can see it, all we know is Baker forcing the ball to Odell. I like where your head's at, and I hope it works that way.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Like, can we at least stop making excuses for this guy now? Like, again, we addressed this a couple months ago. Browns fans don't know right now whether to be the cock of the walk or the victim. Because every time we talk about championships, it's, we're there, we're in the conversation, we're going to beat the Chiefs, we're going to do this. And then it quickly turns to, well, Baker's been through 4 play callers, he's went through 3 head coaches. Shut up. Like, pick your side. Do you want to be the bully or do you want to be the kid that's getting bullied? Like, that's what it comes down to.
It's easy for you to say, DJ, because the Steelers have had 3 head coaches since the 1970s.
So Ben's had 4 offensive coordinators. I mean,
come on, you know Tomlin has most of the pot.
That's Scotty. You just showed your cards, buddy. You just put your cards on the table. You know jack dick about the Steelers, because if you think Mike Tomlin is calling the plays for the Steelers, you're out of your mind. It's number 7, and it came out today. We were actually going to talk about it, and we will talk about it in a little bit. But I will tell you, Scotty, you just showed your cards. Stick to the Brownies. You're allowed to have your opinions of the Steelers, but if you think Mike Tomlin is calling any plays other than 4th and 1, you're out of your gourd.
Hey, can I say this last thing? Because I got to bounce. I got to roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I want to say is
more say than
Scotty. Time out, Scotty. Time out. Wind it down for a second. Go ahead.
All I want to say before I leave to head to my game is, the Steelers stink, and so does Baker. Mic drop.
So here he goes.
Good riddance.
I remember back. This is before your guys' time, but I remember Phil Simms was drafted by the New York Giants in 1979 and took an absolute beating for 5 years, playing the same way Baker, and then finally won a Super Bowl. And that's what Baker. You don't have to be the star like Mahomes in your first year. I like the way Baker's going. I think he's going to win a Super Bowl for us.
I told you
talking about the Browns this whole show, buddy.
In plain text, I told you straight up that everybody loves Baker in Cleveland because he epitomizes the Cleveland Browns.
Right. I don't think he's an elite quarterback by any stretch.
Unfortunately, what that means is he is not a championship caliber guy. That is the Cleveland Browns way. They are not a championship caliber team. They're just not.
We don't know that yet.
No, we do. I mean, we've known that for 55 years now, that they're not a championship caliber team in the Super Bowl era.
I guess there's one thing we do know.
I know that they made it farther than your team did last year. I didn't know that.
And there we made it farther than our team, which leads us into another conversation, which I'll get into after we read this Mark Roth comment. Not all Browns fans fall into the victim or bully role. I'm happy to say that I'm happy that they are a better team than they have been in a long time. No more, no less. I think that's
Mark Roth.
Mark Roth. He's the big dog. He's one of the OGs of YSN.
I agree with him. I'm happy.
Yes. McPherson gets it right. Tomlin will only call the defensive side of the ball in certain situations because he's a defensive guy.
I didn't say he's calling all the shots. What I said, I don't think these so-called offensive coordinators, I just don't buy it, especially when they were 11-0. I think just as much Tomlin got for them being starting 11-0. He has to take just as much of the blame because when it all comes down to it, he's the head coach. I mean, you could win with a bad offensive coordinator.
False. False. Yeah, I mean, you can't. A lot of times the offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators are the heartbeat of a football team. You look at Dick LeBeau and the Steelers side of things. You look at,
The Steelers, but the Steelers won a couple. They were one of the best teams in the league for a few years with Todd freaking Haley. Does he even have a job right now? I mean, come on.
No, he doesn't. And the reason he doesn't is because he kept getting into arguments with his quarterback, who is used to calling the plays and used to.
It was an egotistical guy.
He is, but so is Roethlisberger. I mean, let's just be honest. Let's call it what it is.
Quarterbacks would have to be a little egotistical.
I mean, he's my favorite player of all time when it comes to the Steelers. I just spent a lot of money on his autographed uniform. And like, listen, I'll go to bat for the guy all day. I mean, Dave, I don't think you were here when I came in. I heard it on the radio. They just released a report saying that in the stadiums where no fans were, the Steelers were actually calling out routes. Like Roethlisberger was calling out routes because they were so, like, everybody knew what was coming. So, you know, when they lost, they were playing Sandlot for half a year basically. And, you know, I'm interested now. Now that changes the way I feel about the Steelers. It changed the way from the parking lot to pick up the girls back into the parking lot because now I'm sitting.
Ben era is almost over.
I mean, here's the thing: is everybody says that, but the Steelers will have
at the end. I mean, I'm not saying it could be
no. I mean, I'm with you. This could be his last year. For everybody's pointing at this to being his last year, and I've come to grips with it. But I was very, very excited to learn that for the first time in my lifetime, the Steelers will have the most cap space next year out of any team other than the Colts, who beat them by $110,000. So basically, they're even Stevens. How dangerous could this Steelers team be in free agency, given the fact that
Super Bowl in 2 years again?
What's that?
They could be in the Super Bowl 2 years from now.
That's what I mean. Like, everybody's pointing, and Scotty, you've said it many times, and I've just kind of bit my lip because I didn't know this. I just didn't. What their salary cap situation was, because that's not what fans know a lot of times. But you roll in here today, and I say, wow, they've got what's the number? It's $84 million or something like that. It's $86.4 million next year to spend.
And that's why they went with a running back instead of an offensive lineman. They can get an offensive lineman.
And that's the thing. They can go get an offensive lineman for fairly cheap, but they can also go get, if Mason Rudolph doesn't work out with his extension, if Dwayne Haskins doesn't work out with his veteran or his minimum contract or whatever, his futures contract, guess what? We can go get a quarterback. There's no problem with going in to acquire, because who doesn't want to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Who doesn't want to come in and go, listen, that's a team with 6 Lombardis. I want to be the 7th. That's the difference. You talk about culture. That's something Cleveland doesn't have. Your window's here now, right? We talk about it. There it is. Your window's here. Our window, okay, if we lose this year, oh well, we'll compete for a championship. We'll compete for the division title. I firmly believe. But listen, Ben, you gave us a good ride. This is you're riding off into the sunset. You know, go 7. You get your number retired, all that stuff. You're on your way to Canton. Now we got $86 million to spend. We're going to cause some problems. That's going to be some problems for some guys in that dog pound.
Well, I will say, I mean, having the money to acquire really good or great players is one thing, DJ. And I'm not saying over the years, historically, the Steelers, if not just good, they've been very good with their drafting. But one thing I will say is they could bring in all the talented players they want and have the most cap space in the league. But if you don't find the heir apparent to Big Ben, another Pro Bowl or potential Hall of Fame quarterback, it doesn't matter what other areas of the team and how much they improve those other areas. They're going to have to, whether it is the free agency route or the draft, they're going to have to either, get lucky or, be smarter than other teams and find a really good quarterback.
Well, here's the thing that I like, and a lot of people are calling me crazy because I like Haskins, but listen, he still has first-round talent. He might be
Does.
he might be a little loose up here, but you tighten the screws on him a little bit. If he sits shotgun for a little bit behind a Mason Rudolph or Ben Roethlisberger, listen, the Steelers basically got a first-round draft pick quarterback out of The Ohio State University. I mean, this guy was up for the Heisman. So, like, there's a lot of people that are poo-pooing the idea of Dwayne Haskins being a good quarterback. I urge you to go and watch his highlights in college. And yes, he hasn't panned out in the pros yet. Name me a Redskins quarterback other than Mark Rippon that has. I'll wait.
In the history?
Yeah.
Joe Theismann?
How'd that end for him?
Doug Williams?
Yeah, Doug Williams. That's
Okay. I mean, listen, it's few and far between. Can we at least agree to that?
Humphreys? No.
Tomlin is going to be a good coach for Haskins. I think that's a good point. I think it's a fair point. Steelers fans hate losing, but finishing
This
6
is why
to 10.
we did not bring the Steelers into our conversation. It's very difficult to argue Browns Steelers.
No, it's not. Apparently, it's not during the regular part of the day. Scotty's ripped me a new butthole all day today about how the Browns are going to be fantastic.
That's all we have is speculation. You guys got history.
Haskins is not going to be our Charlie Batch. There's no way. No.
Charlie Batch. Yeah, there you go. Random QB.
Haskins stinks. Please stop. Okay, Paige. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. I think every Browns fan hopes that Haskins stinks.
DJ, to be honest with you, you might think I'm crazy here, but I'm not totally like, I don't think Mason Rudolph in his NFL, I still think he's got some promise there. I thought he played really good the last game of the year, filling in for Roethlisberger. So I don't know. They could have something there, even more than you may think they have with Haskins. I thought Rudolph seems to have a pretty strong arm, and I thought he made some very good throws in that last regular season game last year.
Bring back the duck. Where's the duck?
No, the Duck is, I think he's what, in Los Angeles?
Okay.
Yeah, we're not bringing him back ever again. Like that was what, and he got the win, did he not, over the Brownies?
He came in good. They played.
He did, yeah.
He exceeded any
The
expectations.
game,
But
after
that's the difference, guys. We talked about it today. Like, if the Browns' only expectations are to beat the Steelers, man, sorry about your luck. Like,
Not saying that's our expectations, but that was a huge, colossal victory in our history, and I'm sorry, it was.
See, now you're getting you're projecting Super Dave's expectations on every other Browns fan, because my expectation is certainly not I just want to beat the Steelers. My expectation this year is Super Bowl, baby.
well, that can be your expectation, Scotty. I just would not hold your breath. That's all I'm gonna say. As someone who thought they had a super team in the Steelers and had to go up against the Patriots every year, I'm sorry to say that the Browns fans will have to go up against the Chiefs for the next 5 years. So,
hey DJ, could I ask you one more question before we get into the beef and filet?
sure.
I just wanted to know. Take your hatred for the Browns organization out of it. What's more likely? Do you think? What is more likely for us to see in our lifetimes, provided we both live long, fruitful lives? Do you think the Browns win a Super Bowl, or do you think I walk someday? What's more likely?
We talked about this earlier. I think that, oh man, Scotty. I mean, if I have to pull the trigger on that, I'm saying that you walk. I'm saying that you fly before the Browns win a Super Bowl. I don't know even how to answer that one. I think that you'll be on a Jetson mobile before the Browns are able to hold the Lombardi high. I don't think they're that far off, and people get this, and I hate coming off like this as if I hate the Browns, because I don't. I really enjoy watching the Browns, especially fans here, get excited. I don't like the Browns fans that become all of a sudden, you win, you don't win your division, you get into the playoffs, you beat the Steelers, and now you're the best team in football. I'm missing the boat as to where that whole narrative came from. Because, again,
We're the best team in football. No, I haven't heard that.
well, I keep hearing it that, next stop Super Bowl and the culture has changed. Like, a culture has to be something, again, that isn't just a Wednesday, right? It's got to be Monday through Sunday. That's a culture. The Browns are on Tuesday, right? Let's get to maybe the weekend before we start saying that the Browns changed their culture and they're ready for a Super Bowl, because they're not.
I didn't 2 years ago when they were, and I said they just came off a 1-31 stretch like 2 years ago. How are they gonna? So I never drank.
Yeah, I mean, it's like watching. You guys have been around New Year's Eve parties. Everybody's super excited about 2021, and then they get hammered drunk and they're like, "This is the best year ever!" And then they wake up on January 1 and they're like, "What the hell just happened? I hate this year already." You know what I mean? One bad thing happens and it turns into, this year sucks. So that's what the Browns are going with, right? They're like not completely off of their buzz yet, but the hangover's coming and you can feel it. So it's just be careful with what you say, Scotty. Don't place any bets.
Yeah, subpar Dave's been trying to tell me to curb my expectations because he's seen a lot more Cleveland sports heartbreak than I have. But it's not just what they did last year, DJ. I get your point that it's only 1 year, but I also think, again, games aren't played on paper, but again, until they go out and play, all we could go off of is what they've done in the offseason. And I think they've acquired really good players. In my opinion, got one of the best players in the draft in round 2 in Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So that's just my opinion. I may be dead wrong, but because of that, I'm going to shoot for the moon and be optimistic.
Well, and that's what we love about you, Scotty. It's time for the G. Burbick Farms What's Your Beef, What's Your Filet, brought to you by our friends over at G. Burbick Farms. It just tastes better. Moo. Scotty, what's your beef, what's your filet?
Well, I wasn't gonna do this, DJ, but Anthony, because he's a fellow Willie, and we unite as Wheelchair Nation. He pressured me into this. I'm not going to name drop the guy, but a couple weeks ago in my new place, while I was being transferred into bed, I banged my foot off of something in the bed and broke a couple of my toes. Well, I've had to wear this boot for the last few weeks. And I'm not in pain, but it's not fun wearing a boot every day, all day. It sucks. So, that guy, he owes me something, at least like a steak dinner or something. So that's my beef.
All right, Dave, how about you?
I have a filet. The first year I joined ESPN Fantasy Basketball, and my team, Deep Quarter 3, is 5 days away from winning a championship. I'm up by 288 points right now, and I'm extremely excited about this.
Well, congratulations on your championship, subpar Dave. But we all know it's not about championships. It's just about having a good time. So
I'll be so proud that he came in second.
My beef is simply going to be with with those people that are charging us for the games, and we weren't supposed to be charged in the first place. So I'll leave it at that. It's an easy beef today. $9.99 on the network tonight. You get 5 playoff games. Billy Mack hooking us up and heading out to Brookfield to get that 5th game taken care of for you. So make sure you tune in. The paywall is up, so if you have any questions, make sure you utilize our social media pages. We will have at least one tech on it trying to help out wherever it is necessary. It will be a strict no refunds policy. If you buy the game, it is up to you to get it turned on. Obviously we can't monitor whenever the game goes off. You know what I mean? At your house, a lot of it's based on your internet and a lot of other conditions. So I hope you can join us for the games tonight. If not, there's plenty of free ones on for baseball this evening. So have fun on the network. We appreciate Scotty. We appreciate you and Subpar Dave jumping on. And, of course, we appreciate Big Mac. What's that?
I'll be super again next week, I promise.
We'll see. You got a lot of making up to do after that championships don't matter thing. So on behalf of all of us at YSN, make sure you stay safe, stay well, and stay locked on to ysnlive.com. Until then, we will fly the flag.